Rumble pick. So then that Rumble got taken away as well by Kalista, as well as... What was the other pick that I just said? I don't remember. But yeah, there goes the Kalista because Varus got banned. Now Vi is up and available. That looks like the premier pick to me. Ambessa could be up there too. You could pick that away if you want to. Ashe! There you go. Part of the trifecta of the Varus, Kalista, Ashe. That's going to be taken away potentially. You could do Jhin into that. You could do Ziggs into that. I think those are your best options since MF is out.
Ziggs does sound good. I mean, Ziggs sounds like the premier option, right? Like,
yeah.
Constantly banned away. Banned in the first rotation last time as well. Nocturne. Yo. So we're getting the comp. We're getting the Nocturne Ori, are we?
It looks like it. It looks like that's immediately what I'm going to go for. Sometimes we see Nocturne without the Orianna, and that functions just fine, but you could just see the Nocturne Orianna here as well. And the question is, you know, how does FPX pilot having an immobile carry versus Nocturne Orianna? You know, it's going to be incredibly difficult. Jhin for the overhead, over the dive, you know, with the snares and the long range, works really, really well. Ashe Braum, you know, they could have some disengage. Ashe Renata. I'm thinking all the disengage options that they do have, and those are pretty decent. You could also, yeah, I think these are your best options. There's the Wukong, unnerfed because we're on 15.2, not 15.3. Sure. So you could do something like Nocturne Orianna, Wukong Orianna to break up the Nocturne combo. Yeah.
Okay, so it makes sense that, you know, and then we look at jungle, right? As you said, like Wukong could just be the premier to take it away before it gets banned away. And not only does it take it away, but sets up a really nice combo as well. And I feel like there's a lot of engaged support options still up and available. We have Rakan, we have Nautilus, Braum for disengages you already talked about, since you already have, you know, decent engage and setup.
So, yeah, you can play disengage here. I think you just want to draft dive, though, right? Akali could be good with the Nocturne. You could play Ahri, Nocturne Ahri, you know, something like this that has a lot of dive. That could be picked up in phase 2. But Maokai going to be locked in, and that is immediately a flex because you have it in the support role and the top lane role. It's probably going to be top lane, though, for Shanji. Like you said, Shanji likes Maokai top. Now, you could pinch away top laners here, like Gnar. Gnar works really well into Maokai. What other ones do you have? Ambessa. Ambessa, you know, people like Maokai into Ambessa, but Ambessa still will free scale. So that is also an option, too.
Even LEC is playing a bit of Maokai top these days. I mean, like, it's been thought about, so... I do like it as an option, and I like that now Kasante's up. That feels like the premier tank. Tank shredders. I mean, you already mentioned Gnar. You said Ambessa.
I think Ambessa. I think Gragas facilitates disengage as well on the side of FPX. Works really well with the Maokai. But there's the Akali takeaway. Like, you need AP in the mid lane right now for NIP, and you need dive. So there are very specific, you know, dive plus AP champions. Akali's one of them. And I'm trying to think of the other options. You also have potentially, you know, Silas, but I don't think that's going to be it's not a great angle. What else is there? Maokai plus Yone could be a combination that they work with. I think that could be great too.
But then you have no AP because Maokai base AP is not enough. But I guess you need a hard tank to really stop it for FPX, don't you?
There's a Silas gone. You need AP as well into the Wukong. You know, having AP into Wukong matters a lot. Wukong to full AD is absolutely fantastic. So probably not going to go that route. There's the Nocturne plus Rakan duo, since Rel isn't out. And now what I'm trying to think of options that work well with FPX as a support. You have Bard for support. You have Renata. I think these are fantastic lanes that offer disengage as well as into the mobile carries. Bard could be great. Yeah, I think these are your premier picks. Although you could just pick hard engage like a Nautilus and just be done with it. I think that could work too. What else is open? Poppy? More disengage? No, but there's the Renata. They're going to go with that alternative.
Okay, so Renata locked in. Now, Malphite.
Malphite. Into Maokai? It sounds horrendous, mate.
You reckon it does?
I wonder if we'll see the Anivia. Did they watch LCK this morning? That is no. That is an Udyr. And I think it's incredibly stinky. I'm not a big fan. It's going to get perma prior if they do lock it into the Maokai. But you just lane swap into it, and then Udyr, you know, he's kind of a sad bunny because he wants to play from ahead. That's this champion in a nutshell. What you pick Udyr for is perma prior and the ability to snowball the early game. Now, what has Doinb got for us? The Pocket Pick Rise is going to come out into the Orianna. Okay. Traditionally, this wouldn't be a great matchup because the Orianna should bully the Rise out. But Doinb, you know, he feels confident. Despite the outrange, he's going to do well in the lane.
Yo, chat, just a side note, while everyone's joined in, I just got to let you guys know we're going to run ads because that's how we're going to keep things rolling, and that's how we're going to make sure that you don't get them in-game. You can subscribe to avoid them. You can do anything in your right mind to avoid them, but at the end of these 2 minutes, you'll be back, ready to hop in the game with us. So we appreciate you all. Thank you again for being here, and big kiss, big smooch. And yeah, NIP. I mean, this is a series that we're expecting them to win. I think overall, NIP should be firm favorites after you just watch the first game because this team feels pretty switched on. I don't know what Doinb's done to it, but like suddenly, you know, Aki's playing great League of Legends, Shanji's playing great League. Like, it just feels like this is NIP's split.
I do like what FPX's adaptations though, because I feel like NIP should be expected to win this. They have a great composition, but FPX, you know, they've adapted from game one when they're not going full scaling. They actually have playmaking in the early game. They have priorities to work with, you know, lanes that push, and it's going to mean that Shadow's a bit more unleashed in the early game. They have a bit more agency. So I like that from FPX. They're not going to roll over and die as they try to contest with much weaker champions at this phase. On the other side, you have NIP, who actually are much more scaling this time around. They don't have the same level of playmaking. They have to get the 6 on Nocturne and so on, and Ryze is, of course, a scaling champ with a bit of setup too. So the same with Rakan, the same with Nocturne, have to farm up and scale, and then you could teamfight as NIP.
Okay. Well, game 2 underway. We'll see if FPX can at least do something better in the early game, since it does facilitate their comp a little bit better as well. But yeah, oh, God, it's a Saturday morning.
It is a Saturday morning. Good observation.
It's a Saturday morning.
Ooh, level 1. Now, the question is lane swapping. Now, what I want to see is a lane swap away from the Udyr lane from NIP. They're going to get information, FPX and NIP are. And I want the Udyr to be put so far behind, kind of like the Cassante was level 1. Because Udyr from behind is not a Cassante from behind, right? It won't end up scaling up to being a teamfight prospect, but rather it will be completely useless because this champion's all about like accelerating the early game and playing with your priorities. So it looks like they're going to look for a lane swap. Lots of information being gathered already from FPX. You can see the ward already in the lane, and it feels like it's going to be the standard. FPX very well researched in their level 1s. Going to flex the level 1 strength of Renata and Ashe.
Okay, Shanji. I mean, Maokai also just one of those champions that's good at highlighting solo lanes if he has to play it. She's moving up top. And FPX just going bot. Small water spot out from NIP as well, knowing as they go in deep, probably to place one of their own.
And now the question is, you know, does Udyr try to lane 1 versus 2, or does Udyr go into mid lane to soak XP for level 2 and then go top lane? It looks like his option, you know, Sheer has chosen the option of laning 1 versus 2 and soaking XP, rather than soaking XP away from Care. And you can see he's waiting in that tri-bush. The second he sees the bot lane leave and ppgod up topside, he's going to try and soak XP.
W start. W start. Yo, Shanji finds it, takes a turret shot. Care already flashes away, though. And yeah, Shanji, just a stun bot at this point.
Yeah, and attempted trades up topside. Now, the thing is, ppgod and Jhin, right? Rakan and Jhin have no dive potential, whereas Renata and Ashe do. So what I would like to see, you know, is ppgod hover down in bot side. Once Shanji on this Maokai gets level 2 and runs bot side to catch the wave, I want ppgod as well to recall and go defend Maokai soaking this wave. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. You can see Shanji heading down bot side. Rakan is recalling, and they're going to go Shadow down bot, so there's no dive potential because there is a map split. It's going to be incredibly hard for Shanji to soak this wave without the help of the Rakan.
Spotted out the power of Ashe, at least in some of these lane swaps. Knowing exactly where Aki is. Still splitting the map for the time being, and the Jhin is just... I've never seen a Jhin
proxy Jhin! That is a first. Can he stack the wave and put a trap underneath? Maybe that's the idea. That is a new Bowsen strategy, actually.
Oh, yeah. Wait, Jhin top is viable? That's what I've learned off the first 10 seconds of this game.
Maybe. You see, Care's actually battering Doinb a little bit in terms of the HP. Down a potion already, but look at bot lane. So ppgod had to Shadow, because otherwise there was potential dive threat from the Wukong. That actually going to cancel his recall.
That's Rakan.
Yeah, it's a Rakan. Why am I getting hyped over Rakan, who has 70 dashes and is so slippery?
I saw a sapling there. I'm like, all the setup.
Yeah, you know what? You baited me. You're like, oh. You do that a lot,
you know. Always do that to me. You're like, oh, tanks trading into tanks. Okay, why is the crowd? All the crowd saying because Lee's coming down. W start. Remember this Maokai, mega relevant. Jwei flashes away, and Leave is now here. Deadlift Flourish not going to connect. Shadow level 4. He's got an advantage. If he comes in now, he does big damage.
And both of these junglers going to want to play the no commitment to the same with the Khan. Doesn't want to commit at all to him because I take a lot of damage to mid lane. That's going to back a lot. Assuming he goes down that route, I think you'll also go for the capital early.
Can I build tier on Ryze these days?
Yeah, so I think it's a good matter. A lot of ages can be right?
Yeah.
So you put tier here with like something like Shanji lasting. I love the LPL observers.
Doing?
They zoom in on CSing. It's so base. Right?
It's so... It's like bullying. Oh.
Bad. Flashes away from the W to knock up ppgod, but now he's very gankable on this 6. This is a great timer for ppgod to flash on him, because once he turns around, it's really hard into River. Bat's going to have a really hard time in any of these skirmishes, and this is why we saw the fall off of the mobile carries like Ash, because it becomes incredibly hard to team play versus the dive.
Bro, the dive, the concept, like the amount of CC that's in the game now, like every role apart from AD carry, or even AD carries for CC, but like we're in a meta where, you know, like we're front to backs, we're a lot of team fighting, a lot of skirmishing. And that's why, you remember I said to you at the start of LPL Revival, I was like, yo, I feel like Varus and Ash are overhyped because immobile AD carries just seem like ass. Like,
yeah, and I completely agree with you, but that's only in regions where dive is played well and executed well. For the opening of LEC, we just did not see like dive come out, and immobile carries, I feel like front to back was just rewarded a lot. It was just a very big difference. Jwei ganks in the mid lane, Doinb.
Oh,
that's the flash.
He does have his flash available, burns it immediately from the handshake. Good roam from support.
I actually wanted to ask, in the LEC, have we seen a meta shift yet? Like, is it still immobile? Is it like still front to back? We see Maokai.
I mean, Ash is not
Sejuani
Ash is rarely picked.
Right.
And from memory, I mean, because LEC's off this week, right? Like it was off, you know, today and tomorrow. So before we go to playoffs, there has been, there's been like constant Wukongs. Sejuani had way high priority for some reason. Like,
right.
Sejuani was like a 2-3 draft here, but Sejuani was like almost first pickable in LEC.
I think historically, LEC players just have liked tanks, you know? Champions like the Sejuani and the Maokai have just been... You know, Maokai is something like 8-0 or something, 8-2 in the LEC. It just wins every single game as a blind pick. Yeah. It's mental.
It's crazy.
It's not even touched here. Look at Shanji, though. I mean, he won't be dove here. He's very, very tanky as his Maokai, and he'll be able to soak XP. And you also have, you know, Aki about to ding 6 as well. Maybe at the end of this camp, he'll be level 6. Not going to have the grub, so they're going to concede. But this is what we said. NIP, they have the scaling draft, right? They're going to have to concede. ppgod.
It's a
Aki
response.
just ding 6. Aki 6.
It was just hit. Yeah, Shanji hit it as cleanse immediately, but it's only going to be 1. Turning off the lights is good, but it's not good for the bottom side of FPX. Into the bailout, and there's going to be none given over. First blood over to NIP, and FPX, their bottom lane, absolutely overganked.
Yeah. And now, is it the dive going to be here? Doinb actually going to take it. Rakan's going to make it as well.
Is tagging up first. Flash from Shanji. The nature scrap's fantastic. Bat up against the wall. Doinb still tanking it out, but turret ramping is now there. Shadow could be an overdrive too, but in a different way as they get the clone. Aki flashes away, maybe biting off too much to find Shadow.
I think that was really cool from what Shanji. So he actually W'd the clone to drop aggro, because I'm pretty sure what happens is if you W minions, you don't drop aggro, but that might be a change that they fixed.
What, a clone doesn't count as a champion?
It does. It counts as a champion. So it actually dropped tower aggro there, because you know when you attack the clone, you get conquer stacks and so on. That might be a change that's fixed. I might be talking out my ass.
Hang on, pause, because I remember in LEC, Wing a minion got like de-aggroed the turret.
Okay, so maybe they fixed that. Because that was a thing before where, that was a thing before where it wouldn't drop the aggro and it had to be a champion. Anyway, doesn't matter then. He W'd the clone to get out and they dropped aggro. It was a nice dive from NIP. The shark calling from Doinb to call for this dive with the ultimate and to bring over Rakan, ppgod there and the chain CC. You know, Bat, he can't really do anything. Doinb has phase rush, so he can always tank in and out of tower shots. Nice played.
A clean play, and once again, Doinb in light of early action, Aki as well. I mean, these two have been moving together quite well, and overall, NIP with an early gold lead yet again. The most important part is the fact that it's coming, you know, off this Jin with a 25 CS lead. So yeah, Bat not in a great spot here. Is like Leave once again is just showing to be the better AD carry.
I'm worried as well because Bat, you know, he has no flash and cleanse again, and Nocturne ult's available again. You know, the paranoia, they could make a play towards bot side and Bat won't be able to do anything. They could also alternatively just save the Nocturne ult and make a play at Grubs. You know, they can do this because they scale. And once again, NIP, they flipped the coin in terms of drafts. Now they're playing the scaling composition and actually winning out on this early game, which is not a good sign. You know, playing from behind with Sheer on an Udyr is not very useful. Gonna look for an invade, and they're gonna see they've still got a flex. This is the problem when you don't scale and you're behind, you still have to try and make plays.
Oh,
Q-bonk on the
Shadow
flash.
gets it.
Smite.
He does get level 7. He's going to clone over the wall, but Shanji's here waiting. Cyclone with the lights turned off. It's bad. Nature's Grasp as well follows up, and NIP, we're thinking, nah, we don't go back in, but a Twisted Advance captures all. A Bramble Smash down, and there's the feat of strength over to NIP. Sheer backs off, and a third kill again. The early game once again just being a dominant kill fest for them.
I think the crowd is laughing because Sheer actually tanked the Grasping Roots, but then Shadow got hit by it anyway because he walked too far up.
Okay.
So, despite catching the CC, it didn't matter. Shadow kind of griefed it there. Still, the engage comes out, the punish onto the steal, and you can see FPX, they're still desperately trying to make plays with the proactive tools they do have. But, you know, NIP read it, and you can see, you know, Shadow, he dashes over the wall here for the escape, and Shanji is in position to punish. Now, the Grasping Roots is going to come out, the Nocturne and the move speed is there, but Sheer's going to catch it, and somehow Shadow still gets hit?
Elevation. How? How? Yo, we need to change elevation in River. That's so dumb. That's so bad.
I don't even know if it was elevation or just Shadow.
That's gotta be, because it's the end of the river, and as the river goes, like, I'm pretty sure the physics of it are it's slightly higher.
Right. Look at the fortress that Jin has set up around the bot side for Doinb to be able to side lane. Like, so if anyone ever walks over a trap that's slowed, and Doinb can just run away from there. Wow. The ward set up from the Jin to facilitate the split push is not something I've seen before.
Holy moly. Well, I'm a bit worried here, but NIP getting caught out a little bit. That's good for FPX, but I'm worried because even if Shadow looks to start these grubs, FPX are going to be trying to find 5, 6 at least, but it's going to be fought out. NIP still have teleports available, and Doinb can join in if so choosing.
Yeah. FPX, they're strong at this point, right? Their champions are, like, innately strong. But, you know, they do have the immobile bat, so can they navigate? Can NIP manage to steal away a grub in the scaling composition? TP's going to come through.
Double TP. Jin off on the side with the curtain call. Care's trying to zone him before he sets on up, as there's the lights again. Shanji in a good angle here as he steps onto the Wukong, but it's not the clone. It's onto the Cyclone. Backline access given over to Aki. A good hostile takeover, though, buys time, and Aki is in trouble. The curtain call not doing too much damage this early on, but standing in front as a Renata will give him another chance to shine. Shears on top of his head, but a kill goes out after the hostile takeover is all done, and well done as Doinb is running the backline. We got a Doinb CS hack with champions this game again. Sheer just showing how broken Udyr can be in the early game as he almost gets forced shot to death. FPX, they lost jungle, support, 80 carry, almost their top laner, and NIP lost 1.
Yeah, NIP with a huge, like, positioning advantage in that team fight. You can see Shanji from the top side utilizing the combo of the Grasping Roots plus the Paranoia to hide the Grasping Roots on that flank was super, super nice. The positioning was very, very difficult. I think what happens, though, so take a look. Shanji throws his ultimate after the TP comes through, and because it's so dark, you can't see the ultimate coming. He actually runs over. He doesn't actually cast the ultimate. But, like, look at the big Q that comes here from Shanji. 3-man into the backline dive from Aki, and Bat has to flash away. Doesn't take the blast gun out, but the disengage is there, and Aki gets run down by the Udyr. Still, on the backside, you have Shadow completely isolated, right? Unfortunately. And then Doinb, this is why I shouted Doinb in the fight. He actually dives the backline 1 versus 2. Q flashes down into the backline. Care has to slowly run away. He drops an ultimate onto Doinb, but it isn't enough to disengage him. They don't pick up Sheer, but, you know, still another winning fight for the NIP when they shouldn't be winning this hard this early.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't be, but, I mean, they are. When they pick apart the fight like that, I guess Jin really has target selection, and, I mean, Doinb now, 3 kills on Rise. 110 CS, bro. This guy is back with vengeance. The only good thing for FPX in this second game, outside of me glazing the side of NIP, is that they got 6 grubs. So that's great. That's great for FPX. Eragon, say something nice.
You look lovely today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What about something nice about FPX?
Oh, okay. You didn't mean generally. FPX, you know, they've got bats, and he does have cleanse this time around, so...
Oh my god. What do you mean? You're like, oh, he's got bat. Oh,
okay,
fantastic,
look, I'll give props. You know, they kited back well into the engage. They know how to play the composition, and they played, you know, in the standard front to back that they need to. Now, the problem I'm having, you know, is that it's going to be so hard to play this composition as the game goes on. You outscale so hard, and your disengage with a Renata alone isn't going to be enough. So, you know, how can they continue to use the tempo they do have with the champions to make plays onto tower platings, as well as secure you know, at the very least they have 6 scrubs, which is fantastic. Now, how can they utilize that to hit towers and facilitate Udyr to proxy and so on? That's what they really need to look at right now. How do they accelerate the game?
Well, you asked it, not me, because I mean, FPX need to utilize arrows. We know how that comp sets up. You explained it quite well.
Utilize arrows into the mid lane. You know, they could look for arrows in the mid lane. The problem is Leave has cleanse. That should be a cleanse pop every single time. But I really want to see them utilize that, like, you know, the tower hitting with the Udyr, right? The Udyr is a very good split push champion. If you can just hit the towers and blink it, the grubs are still OP because this is unnerfed grubs. So I want to see what I want to see from the side of FPX is actually shadowing down towards bot side with this with Sheer on this Udyr, set up vision on him so he can actually play versus the Nocturne. Because right now the big threat that Udyr has is that if he overextends, Nocturne can just ult him, you know, and it's very, very scary. He could always walk away from it, but it means he can't hit the tower though, right? That's the problem.
Right. So
and the problem is you can't
denying tower access, not actually getting an outright kill.
Also, the problem is you can't free hit the tower and ignore the Maokai either because your unending despair is going to draw tower aggro, right?
Oh, true.
So you need to find a way to allow this Udyr to hit, and it looks like they're not going to go for it. They're actually going to play towards top side, allow for Care to hit the tower instead.
Well, Doinb's going to be the target then, it means. He's got a little bit of tanky stats now. He's got the Rod of Ages. Teleport flank, though, is going to come through. So Shanji set up with the Nature's Grass to line him down. As good AoE from Doinb. Cyclone for the disengage, but look, again, here's Shanji. Ulti flying out. They've found the jungler. They've found the mid laner. And even though Care gets himself a good shockwave, I think they're in trouble. Bailout comes in. Hostile takeover. Never mind. Doinb stuck there. He can't move. He got perma-CC'd. And while it looked bad for FPX, I mean, I think Jwei deserves a bit of respect for helping out.
Yeah, TP for TP, and they managed to counter-gank the gank, right? So the TP was there, they set up a ward. NIP knew that FPX were going to siege up topside with the Orianna, but FPX also saw it coming, and they matched the TP with another TP. ppgod's disengage got completely destroyed by the Cyclone from Shadow, very well played by him, to cancel out the Rakan W, the Grand Entrance, and it just means, you know, that there was no initial dive with the Nocturne Rakan combo. Doinb comes in afterwards, and
round 2.
This is optimistic.
Papa.
This is very optimistic.
Yeah, and nothing happens. Well, they're just going to get turret push at least. I mean, NIP are controlling the river. They get Jwei's back here. Good handshake as well. He flashes away, and now we've got Aki's ult into the mix. A fear comes down, but they don't get the kill. So a little bit burned there. They get some summoners Corley, and it also enables them to open up the Herald.
Yeah, so you can see immediately beelining down to bot side because Renata can't be on the map early enough. No flash, uncomfortable to fight this Rift Herald. They're actually going to play for bot side now with the grubs. I really like this trade because they have grubs. Every single trade is going to be really, really strong. Now you can see Wukong shadowing towards bot side as well. Means they can go and proceed to hit the tier 2 as well.
The tier 2 what? You just decided to go, tier 2, Eragon's gone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta be honest with you. Whatever happened to Eragon, don't worry about it. It's a him problem. I'll break down the replay for you. Here comes Apathetics. Handshake, that stops things. Nature's Grasp is good, but look at the Wukong here. It's incredible what he does. As the arrow plays through under Doinb, that Doinb arrow, oh my golly gosh. So what happens was, like, the Renata ult as well, it lines down the middle. And because of that, Doinb can't move. He's stuck. And so, yeah, NIP lose the fight. And now we get to brawl again. Oh, hell yeah, let's go. For some reason, went from American to Australian. As FPX of the 5-man unit say, what the hell is up in this rip-up? And as they ask that question, the Herald gets dropped in mid, which means they can open up a big can of whoop-ass if it opens up. But it doesn't. That's the problem. The minion wave's in the way, and that was the worst Herald we've seen so far. Whatever's happening on who you're on the top of the screen, that's exciting for me. You might not be able to see it, but I'll tell you one thing right now. It's going to be as exciting as this fight. Eragon, did you make it back?
I think I made it back. Can you hear me, Hysterics?
Holy moly, I can. Well done,
fantastic. Well done. Right, so I think the engage comes through. My internet went down, but the game is still going. Dragon started from FPX now. They've got to be careful of this flanking angle from the Maokai ultimate as well as the Paranoia. NIP, they're going to be a little too late for this.
Paranoia is off. Nature's Grasp is out. Curtain call lines again, but look at where the Wukong's going. Cyclone stops it. Not before the damage, though. Jwei sends out an ulti as Maokai's tanking it up, and the Cyclone even gets the kill on the back end. NIP are so separated here. They've spread the chips wide, and Shanji now, no more gliding for him. A double already over to bat. FPX are winning this fight. Doinb flushes over the wall. trying to now 1v1. I mean, I think Sheer, as he gets the stun down, should be okay. And yes, he will. Udyr damage comes in red hot.
Yeah, Udyr damage, the isolated damage of the Tiger Stance, that was crazy amounts of DPS from Sheer right there in that fight. But yeah, what I was worried about was they weren't layering their dive with the Maokai ult as well as the Nocturne ulti. So they were way too spread out. The stuff like you could see Aki on this Nocturne was actually mid lane 1v1ing the Orianna from Care. I don't know what he was doing there, but it meant that he was way too late to this dragon fight, and it meant that the dive threat wasn't there either for the side of NIP. So FPX, they pounced as a unit. They secure the dragon as well as the fight.
Starting to see more of the early game comp that we talked about that you kind of set up for us, that like, yo, these strengths and these 1-2 items, this early to mid game is being set up nicely. We'll watch again because it was all about the Herald through mid. I think that's what this was. Where's this?
You're going to have to fill me in because I missed this. My internet died.
So did I. Leave cleanse. What happened here was this was the dragon fight. You were here.
Yeah, so look at Nocturne. He's in mid lane, zoned up from the Orianna. He goes alone onto this fight, zoning off Care. But it isn't good because you need to layer all your CC onto one person if you're the side of NIP, even if you get this kill. I think on the other hand, you know, Shadow's had really nice fights on this Wukong this game. Managed to find the Jhin on the other side and burst him down 100 to 0. Doinb has to flash out and then gets isolated. I mean, this damage from the Udyr Tiger Stance was mental.
Oh my god, watch, ready? Watch.
Zap!
Boom! Nah, trust me, that's okay. Udyr did 3.5k damage. I mean, he's an early game champ who's useless past 25-30 minutes. That's all I'm going to say. So I think that's okay, those numbers, you know?
I mean, we do have to have a talk about the Tiger Stance damage on, I think it's isolation is the mechanic, but like this champion, it's a bit silly in that regard.
Yeah. The activated one, you mean? Like the passive
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never really see Tiger Stance that often. It's usually just Phoenix, right?
True.
But when it comes out, man, you feel it. It's brutal.
True. I will say, brutal game for FPX that they've now started taking advantage of. I mean, 2 dragons for NIP. Feats of Warfare did go to NIP as well, but let's be real. Like, early game's been recovered. As you said, Shadow's been playing really well. And we've got more objectives to play through that FPX are going to start forcing. Arakan's now up and available as well. And I'm waiting for the second item on this Orianna to kind of compound along with Ash, who just got Renan's Hurricane. I feel like FPX should still be winning fights, right? Like this, it's going to take a little bit long for NIP.
But NIP, they do have, you know, a side lane win condition, right? They can have Doinb on this rise in the side lane, shadowed by a Nocturne ulti potentially, and that's going to make it really hard for FPX to accelerate the game through side lanes. And it means, like, you know, it's going their ability to snowball is going to be stunted. Whereas, you know, NIP, they're going to be able to make the proactive plays in the side lane. You already see them going topside right now to try and take the turret. Problem is they're so far behind. Shadow's so accelerated that he can threaten as well. Despite having 2 items across the board for NIP, they still feel uncomfortable. There it is.
All in. Yeah. We've got already a shockwave in the making. I'm waiting for it, but doesn't go down. Care without ulti. Cyclone in the choke's good, though, as Doinb's going to bring in the realm wall, but the hostile takeover bigger until Doinb says no. He escapes with them all, and the re-engage comes through from NIP. Bat will go down. No revive. The curtain call missing, but it still separates and tears them apart. I think that was the best escape I've seen in League of Legends. It took a second for me to register, but Doinb is super carry again.
Doinb is so clutch. I almost never use this word in casting, right? But I can't think of another adjective to describe Doinb. The ulti, getting the ulti off there was huge. The fact that he managed to get it off, you could see Sheer on the other side, on the Udyr, was desperately running at him to cancel the Realm Warp as best as he could, but he didn't make it in time. And so the Realm Warp wasn't cancelled. The engage comes down. This is what I said, right? Doinb, they play for side lane with him. The Rakan shadowing, Ket oversteps, and the Nocturne instantly pulls the trigger. Now the engage comes through, and this is where they find a pick onto Ket and have to disengage. But it was so close. Look at the timing here with the Realm Walk cancel. You see Sheer's trying his best to get
Cyclone. There. Oh my god, hostile takeover was like a millisecond away.
So close for all the forms of CC. And then the fight is played out. Everything from FPX is used. The flank is insane from the Maokai, from Shanji. And the rundown is there from Sheer, because you have the overhead artillery from the Jhin as well. Really, really nicely played. NIP, Doinb, he makes this team so insanely clutch.
Yeah. And he picks up so much from that fight as well, by the way. Another couple of kills, like, yo, super carries alive. They got Eragon as well. And remember, 15.2 for a reminder, people just tuning in. It means that Eragon's only a 5-second debuff or 5-second respawn, not the 15-second that it is in the live patch. So, again, the ability to abuse and not really lose tempo here as FPX are trying to gain their own. They're using the grubs, all 6 of them, to push in this inner turret top side, but they're going to lose Dragon. They're going to lose pressure through mid and bot. In the meantime, that's the trade.
Yeah, that is the trade. They don't want to go on Shanji here because of the long potential play from Doinb if he TPs over, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, run for your lives. Shadow again going to bust out the Cyclone, maybe a Shockwave. Brings it in. The Ash Arrow doesn't connect because of it, though, and still locked down. Beautiful from Leave. Wait, where did the Realm Warp go? They're still chasing. Yo,
So
Doinb
decisive.
is the traveling man.
He's so decisive on these picks and these plays and the ultimate usages. And the ult's going to come through here now as well for Aki.
He's just running him down. Bat's dead in an instant.
And I want to highlight Leave. He was up top side with the play there, throwing a W to chain CC onto the Oriana. Then he went mid and made a play down on bot side as well with a Nocturne. This Jin utilizing the range really well for the chain CC.
Leaves already had a good start of the split. Even before our little break, I could say the same thing as Shanji. Is he in trouble? Is Maokai top? So probably not. Arakan's still there as well. As FPX desperately trying to defend their inner tier 2 mid. As Baron now spawns. Doinb without any portals, without any teleports, will clear bot and then look to pressure top. Eragon, I mean, we're just kind of back to this seesaw where FPX have lost out, and NIP, it looks like the scaling is definitely well and truly on board.
Yeah, the scaling looks like it's not even that though, right? It's actually they're outplaying them.
They are outplaying, yeah.
There's nothing much to say outside of it's a massive outplay differential, picking onto side, care, you know, not respecting the side pick potential of the Nocturne, and it's also Leave utilizing his composition extremely well. I think NIP just looked phenomenal. So decisive, so clutch. I'm really impressed with Doinb as well as all the others.
I agree. I mean, I feel like this team comes together because of Doinb. This is why the new NIP is so exciting, because like Aki and Shanji, it does seem like they need direction.
Fun. The way they play the game is so fun. They see opportunities that you don't expect, and you never really see if you're spectating League, because who plays these kinds of compositions with Rise, right? You just don't see the side laning anymore outside of this team. I wonder what we're gonna get next. I'm excited to see. You know, are we gonna get Lee Sin again?
We might. Like, we've had Lee Sin mid from him, right? And that's a great call, because as Doinb said in an interview, he mentioned, "Oh, I'm so grateful to LPL because I can come back because of Fearless." He literally attributes his success and like him being able to come back to Fearless, and that's one of the strengths of NIP. I think this is
that
why,
because he thinks he has such a deep champ pool and he can
he
flex
does.
it very
He
well?
doesn't think he knows, right? Aki going in deep. Speaking of deep, flashes over, double Cyclone time, Deadly Flourish buys time, and there's a hostile takeover. It only reaches one, but it gets Shanji in place, but Doinb's now here to curtain call, zones him as well. All of FPX are in this choke, in this corridor. ppgod going to poke his little head in, and he spots them all and sees them there. Mid again by Leave. They're just trying to pull him and spread him apart. Yeah,
but they have no Ash Harrow to potentially pull the trigger, and Lee would have cleanse anyway. They don't find the pick onto Aki, but at the very least they burn his flash, so the dive is marginally worse. Still have the paranoia next time it's off cooldown.
What happened in here? This is the peak of
what did happen in here?
The orb. This is how the ult started, because he was spotted on the scrying ward.
Pops a flash. So it's a flash for a flash trade, and a double knockup comes to him now. The Jin W actually lands onto the Wukong clone in that replay, but still the disengage is there, gets away. And that's going to be difficult to pilot now if you're Care and if you're Jwei, because now you have to potentially Renata bail out the Oriana instead of the Ashe, and that's going to make team fighting for Bat more difficult as well.
I love how your focus always returns to this 80 carry. I mean, Bat is an immobile 80 carry where I think team fighting was never going to be easy in this game.
I think Maokai's existence alone makes it hard to auto on 80 carries.
Why are we not playing more Ezreal? Like, I feel like Ezreal is such a strong 80
I think Ezreal's
carry
phenomenal. Right, Corki's phenomenal, although I think they just played that in the last game. But like anything with mobility is great. I think Ezreal for sure should rise up in priority in the LPL. And Bat, he just has no agency. What can he do? He tries to right-click and he has to think about too many threats, and that's the problem, right? There's just way too many. Nocturne with the Rise all over the top, with the Maokai grasping roots, you just can't manage it. So yeah, Bat's gonna have to play out of his mind if they want to win this game, and maybe go back to the drawing table in terms of draft for game 3. Look at these traps, by the way. I just realized. What the hell?
A colony of traps. And now they're all gone.
They're getting swept away, no!
Oh, but it could be a bait. ppgod angling to go in with flash available as well. Doinb's in top side, but he's got both his teleport and his Realm Warp available now as well. Realm Warp is a fixed distance now, right? Like, it doesn't increase with level? Or does it increase with level? I can't remember.
It does increase with level, yes. So the first one is super short.
Yeah,
and then they scale with level, and that's my understanding at the very least. You know, it's been a while since I played Rises. 2. Just for context, the last time I saw Rise consistently was when I was playing competitive and picked it up then. And that was in 2021. It's been a while since this champ was relevant.
Yeah, I agree with chat. Where are the Chinese Ezreals at? J-Pal, dude,
True.
Huge OnePlus because we have so many good Ezreals, and Bat is like a Jackie Love. So you want to see him on Ezreal.
And we've seen Bat eat over walls as well. He could do that. He could be more unleashed.
He can do that. That's true. Are we going to 5v5 mid? Teleport being burned. Doinb's just going to join in. That's because Dragon's up and available. This is Soul for NIP. They move down immediately, and a bit of a ruse to hold mid wave at its forte, at its forefront, at its fray, whatever you want to call it. And FPX know that they need to get towards Dragon. Meow. Oh, it's gone.
Very far up.
It's gone. Dragon's gone. Have a soul, they say. Nature's grass, they say. Curtain call to FPX's dismay. Throw a couple of bullets. There's a good arrow out in return, so Bat just throws his ult for ult. As FPX now try and hover up towards Baron, because that's going to be the next threat.
Yeah, and they don't move in time. I think they had to pull the trigger, you know, engage, throw an Renata ult to be able to move into the river if they needed to. The problem is they also need to hold Renata ult for the disengage, but now they've decided, you know what, the game's over. Let's full send it on the Baron and flip it. This is going to be our best odds.
Okay, well, I like flips. FPX, as they throw it to the wayside, Doinb's damage is what I'm going to be watching. Azaki now join for the potential steal. His flash not available, so he has to walk in the forefront here as Leave just steps up, gets an auto, and 7k. Blast being thought about by Aki as well, as Shanji front lines takes no damage. Aki still in the back end of this, ready as Shadow gets a great engage. The all-in wombo still flashed away from, because Doinb starts firing like a machine gun. He steps out of the Renata ulti. He lives on for so long. Sheer's tanky enough, but does no damage anymore. He'll be stunned, slowed, and destroyed too. I just think Doinb is that good, man. Watch that fight again as NIP hands diff yet another.
It's a nice attempt from the Wukong Orianna combo from the side of FPX, but it just isn't enough. The disengage comes through afterwards. Shanji is a brick wall in the face of FPX, and because of that brick wall, they're going to be able to pick up the Baron. They're going to be able to pick up the tier 2 tower in the mid lane, and the amount of AD and AP these carries have on the side of NIP means the front lining for Sheer is going to be incredibly difficult as well. Bat stands no chance on this side. The entire side of FPX, they're going to go down. Take a look at this replay. The engage is great from FPX. The portal here is to dissuade and push them back, but then the engage comes through from Shadow as well as the Orianna, and they land a 3-man combo. But it isn't enough, right? In any other world, if the pockets were closer, you know, maybe the fight could be winnable here for FPX, but Lee flashes out. He managed to get it. Wait, did the Nash kill Lee?
I mean, I think it helped. I think it
no, of course, Lee was hitting the Udyr at the end. I panicked a little bit there. I bet he did too. That was a clencher.
It made him flash out at the very least. Now, Aki ult here at the end. Just a nuke.
Ooh, I didn't quite see this. I think this was off camera, but yeah, the immobile carries, no peel available for them. Ashe and Orianna trying to escort each other out. It's not the best duo.
No, it's not. But it's all you got in the end. 11k gold lead, just about. Sorry, if I could count, I'd tell you it's about 10,500. But regardless, with an Infernal Soul, bro, I mean, this team like can look a little bit rickety at times. I don't even know if that's fair to say. But the mechanics are just insane. The teamfight direction is insane. He's got to be shot calling.
It's the mechanics, but it's also, the snap decisions. The snap decisions are crazy in terms of what you use the mechanics for, right?
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, shots open up.
Oh.
You know,
oh. Bend it like Beckham.
He's holding it. Oh. The standoff. Oh. But the amount of AD that Jin must have right now, Leave must have something like 500 AD at least.
At least.
With the Infernal Soul, double Infernal Drake, and the amount of AD that Jin gets. Yeah. I would love to see the Observers highlight it.
Yeah, let's see if they do. Inhibitor mid, inhibitor bot. That's a take. Easy take at that as well. And I don't know if you're going to get the chance because, I mean, this will be over shortly as well. It's now 12k gold lead, and NIP... Yeah. You know, we said this could be like a 3-0. I mean, you said at the start, I wanted to give hope to FPX. I wanted to be like, yo, there could be a game. But it is looking rather frisky.
Like, the reality is, FPX lost 3-1 to RNG. And NIP destroyed IG. So, like, you know, transitive properties, it's not close. It's not close at all. I think NIP clears a lot of teams in the LPL overall right now, let alone their group. So, you know, it was always going to be a tall task for FPX to win this game. And now it's going to be really, really simple for NIP to actually play this one out too. They just play shift from mid into top with the super minions pouring into bot. Very standard League of Legends. And it's on FPX to try and force something. They have Ashe Arrow to work with, as well as the Wukong Wombo combo. Can they make it work before they bleed out into the Nexus?
Well, I mean, this turret is just going to be destroyed. Doinb's damage ratio to turrets is pretty unbearable at this point as well. Yeah, feels very balanced as Baron's using the minions to come in. Cyclone's going to be the last hurrah. They do get one. They get leave. And with that hostile takeover, it's great. But look at the back line. Aki's on top of 2 members, so the fight is disrupted. Now, Doinb is still alive. That seems like a bit of an issue here. At his tankiest self, he goes golden, buying time in the middle of the fight, but popped on back. Sheer now has to take out this Rise, who's running for his life. He'll eventually die, so props to Sheer for making this fight a little bit better. NIP can't stick around. They cannot beat Care and Sheer. At least I don't think so here. As this Mount guy's going back in, but I mean, surely Sheer just heals this all up as Aki gets the waves in the end. Oh my god, the tank battle. Yeah, he's just gonna hit the turret.
Yeah, the waves though, they could just like they took the inhib topside despite not having an AD carry. They don't even need leave. Leave, you know, he dies at the start of the fight and they lose a significant portion of the DPS. They only have Doinb for DPS to burn down Sheer, and clearly that's not enough. So, you know, FPX, well done, but they're in a bit of a checkmate scenario now, right? What's happening is they're getting triple super minions pouring into their base and Elder Dragon spawning. But take a look at this engage. It's a nice trigger pull from Shadow. Burst down with the Orianna Wukong combo onto the Jhin. And that's great. That's fantastic. But that's all your tools. And you can see into the backline. No peel tools available. Once again, it's the Ashe and the Orianna escorting each other rather than having Jwei there to bail out the Ashe. And this is where Sheer kind of shines. I will say this entire game, every single fight, Sheer on this Udyr has been popping off, managing to play against the Fed carries of the side of NIP and doing it well, but versus no DPS, no damage from the Jhin, he managed to tank and drain tank the entirety of NIP there.
But we're back to reality, aren't we? Because we just pick out, Shockwave though, Leave flashes away, and man, that was a nice one, but the problem is that Leave's still not dead. They use a lot of their committal as Care gets tagged on the back end and walks back into it. That was clean as anything, and Doinb's still alive. That's another factor I look at. Double E to get rid of the Deadly Flourish, but now mid's just open, 3 inhibitors down, and this is going to be the game.
Yeah, I mean, FPX, they had to try to find something. They had triple super minions, and if they didn't go for a fight, then NLP were going to get Elder, and then they still would have had the triple super minions. So they tried their best. It's a checkmate scenario, and they couldn't work it. Unfortunately, it's going to be NIP that pick up the victory over FPX there.
All right, well, GG, match point, NIP 2-0, and the vibe of NIP is always all smiles. Yeah. This is what this guy brings. That guy in front of you, he brings smiles every single time he's on a roster.
He's so good, man. I get the hype. I get the hype now. He's actually so damn good. The decisiveness on the rise. But we're getting the same kind of champs every single time now, aren't we? From Doinb in particular. This is just his style.
We've had his rise second time. Like, what did we get game 1? We got
Aurora.
I don't think we've had a Doinb Aurora yet. I mean, we only had 4 games or 5 games versus IG.
Yeah. I like it because it's champs that pair off or work well with the rest of the team. That's what he's good at, right? And that's exactly what he's picking. So leaning into the strengths, the whole of NIP seem to be on board with it. It's super good.
That's why, that's why he does it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw to a quick break. When we return, match point for NIP to see if FPX can fight back.